What's going on, Saints fans? Welcome into Saints Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. For today's show, we are 2 days away from the NFL Draft, which means it's a perfect time to subscribe, so hit that big red button for more Saints videos. Speaking of the draft, let's take a look at some draft targets. What do we got? 15 players that the Saints could draft this year that we're taking a look at. We'll break those down in just a moment. First, here are the picks that the Saints do have, 7 in total. A pair of first-round picks, a second-round pick, a third, and then a fourth, fifth, and sixth as well. Obviously, a lot of the focus in round 1 with pick 16 and pick 19. All right, without further ado, let's get into some draft targets. We'll start at the wide receiver position, which is obviously a position that New Orleans is heavily linked to. Garrett Wilson, out of Ohio State, one of 2 Buckeye receivers, along with Olave, that should go high in this draft. Probably going to have to trade up if you want to get Garrett Wilson, but you have those 2 first-round picks, so doing so is a possibility. I think there's a good chance Wilson's the first receiver off the board. I also think Wilson would fit in very well in New Orleans, opposite of Michael Thomas. Freak athlete, can go up and get it, just does a lot of things really, really well. Is Wilson worth trading up for if you are New Orleans? Type T for trade up for him, type P for pass, rather draft someone else than trade future or other picks. Get your votes in down in the comments. Now, Jameson Williams is a player you might have to trade up for as well. We'll see where he ends up going in this NFL draft out of Alabama. Kind of a wild card, to be honest. 3 weeks ago, he was getting mocked into the latter part of a lot of mock drafts. And then, in the last 10 days or so, he could go top 10. So, obviously, if he goes top 10, the Saints would have to trade up for him. Speedy, fast, good route runner. He's ahead of schedule in his rehab. There was a clip of him running the other day, just 3 months removed from an ACL surgery. So I'm fascinated to see where these guys go in the draft. I think the first wide receiver off the board will speak volumes, and maybe, just maybe, that's Jameson Williams. Chris Olave, I tried to jump the gun earlier because I knew we were going to talk about him. I don't think he's a guy you would trade up for, but I think at 15, is it 15 or 16? 15, he's definitely a guy to 16, the trade with Philadelphia there. He's a guy at 16 that I would definitely be comfortable drafting. 19 as well, if he's on the board at that point. Smooth. That is the word for Chris Olave, one of the smoothest prospects in this draft. Treylon Burks is a guy who can do a little bit of everything. I'd be comfortable with him at 19. He's big, he's physical, he's powerful. He can play in the slot, he can play outside, you can put him at running back. He can do a little bit of everything. You really can't go wrong with any of these guys. You could add other players in there. I mean, if Drake London's on the board at 16, he's a player I like as well. Good receiver class. If you end up with one of those 4 guys, I think you're going to be feeling pretty good if you are the New Orleans Saints. Now, we're going to have fun throughout the NFL Draft. We'll be live on our main Chat Sports YouTube channel, youtube.com/ChatSportsTV. All 7 rounds live here on YouTube, so subscribe over there. Join us. We'll break down every Saints draft pick over there and here on Saints Now. So be locked in because things are about to take off. It's going to be a lot of fun. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Let's go to the offensive line now. How about Charles Cross, who, kind of like Jameson Williams, I think he's a wild card. I think he could be the second tackle off the board. He could also fall a little bit in round 1 and be a guy that's available at 16. I don't know if I'd trade up for him, but if he's on the board at 16, it'd be a home run pick. Trevor Penning has been mocked to the Saints quite a bit by numerous draft experts. Todd McShay, Mel Kiper, they've both mocked him to New Orleans. I think at 16 or 19, he'd be a good fit. You'd probably have to take him at 16 because the Chargers are looming there at 17, and they've been linked to him as well. Y'all know how I feel about him. I think he's rock solid. I think he can plug and play and be a starter for a long time. He can play either tackle spot, would probably play left tackle for the Saints after losing Teron Armstead. I think he would help this group for a long time. You just look at him and you're like, yeah, that's a nasty offensive lineman. Like, that's just what he is. So I'd be completely comfortable with taking him with one of the 2 first-round picks. How about Zion Johnson, who I think is the best interior lineman in this draft. Maybe Tyler Linderbaum's in that conversation at center, but Johnson's more versatile. He can play guard or center. He also played some tackle at Boston College, so if you need to play him at tackle in a pinch, you could do that. I don't think as a full-time starter, but say mid-game your tackle gets hurt. Yeah, you could kick Johnson out there if you want to. He's a unit. He's strong. He's fast for a lineman as well. He's had a really strong pre-draft process, good Senior Bowl. I think at 19, that would be a worthwhile pick. Like if you go receiver at 16 and all the tackles are off the board at 19, take Johnson. I'd be perfectly fine with that for New Orleans. Hey, help us out. Can we get 500 new subscribers before the NFL draft? It's a big challenge, but Who Dat Nation has proven people wrong in the past. By the way, if we did that, we would pass Falcons today in subscribers. I know we've been pushing that competition for you guys, so it's up to you guys. Subscribe, hit the big red button. It's 100% free. Bernard Raymond is another one of these wild cards. He could go round 1. He could go round 2. Maybe the Saints could get him in the second round. Could be an option there. Crazy story. He was playing tight end a couple of years ago. He grew up in Austria. And here he is as a potential round 1 NFL draft pick. Likely will go late 1, early 2. We'll see where he ends up falling. I would love it in the second round. I think 19's too early. This would probably be a trade down situation or maybe trade up a little bit in round 2. That could be an option as well. What do you think the Saints' bigger need is? Talking wide receiver, offensive line, before we jump to the next position group. Type WR for wide receiver. Type OL for offensive line. Let us know what you think the bigger need is. How about Kyle Hamilton as we go to the defensive backs now? Listen, there's some buzz that he could fall outside the top 10. Reports dropping that could be a possibility. And if that is the case, all of a sudden the Saints are in range. And, as much as we would all love Tyrann Mathieu, hey, you get Kyle Hamilton? Okay, I'm intrigued. He's one of my favorite players in this draft. Daxton Hill is a guy that's, I think 16 and 19 are probably a bit early, but you could trade down from one of those picks. I don't think he'll fall to middle round 2 where the Saints pick in the second round, but I like him as a player. We'll see if he's a potential fit for New Orleans. Lewis Seen, late round 1, early round 2, kind of like Daxton Hill. I think 16 and 19 is too early. Probably won't fall to 49, though, so this would have to, be a trade down from round 1 or trade up in round 2, something like that, but I think he's a good player. Jalen Petrie, maybe he's there at 49. I like him out of Baylor. Can give you some nickel as well. Safety nickel hybrid type, good tackler, good ball skills. Really had a big senior season to vault up draft boards, so keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that Tyrann Mathieu is not going to sign before the draft. I just don't think that's going to happen in the next 48 hours, so expect something to happen after, whether it's with New Orleans or someone else. So if you're the Saints and if you're not convinced you'll get Mathieu, you may need to draft one of these defensive backs. So pick a safety. What would you rather do? Type TM for sign Tyrann Mathieu, type D for draft a safety. If I knew I could get Mathieu, I'd rather sign him and then draft other pieces, but if you're not sure, then maybe you got to type D for draft. Let's look at some defensive linemen now. Devontae Wyatt out of Georgia, late round 1, early round 2 type of prospect. I like him a lot. I think, we'll get to Jordan Davis in a second, but I think Wyatt's being overlooked. He's really good as a 3-tech type that could give you some nose as well. Good run stopper, decent pass rusher. It's possible he has a better career than Jordan Davis. We'll talk about Jordan Davis, though, because obviously he's, the mammoth at 6'6", 341. Tested incredibly well, good run stopper. He just eats up blockers. The question people have for him is, can he play, the majority of snaps? I think it's a fair question. I think he can play more than he played in college, but do you draft a guy that's not going to be on the field for 40 or 50% of the snaps in round 1? I don't know. I think that's a fair question. I think he'll go round 1. We'll see if the Saints end up doing it. Which Georgia defensive tackle do you like better? Type DW for Devontae Wyatt. Type JD for Jordan Davis. Depends on what you want out of your defensive tackle, what type of skill set, because they do some different things. Travis Jones out of UConn is more of a 1-tech, like a Jordan Davis, 325 pounds, so not quite as big. It's still very, very big. I wouldn't take him at 19, but in round 2, I think he could be an option for New Orleans. So there you go, 15 players that you guys should keep in mind with the NFL draft set to start on Thursday night. Who is your top draft target for New Orleans? I want to hear it from you guys. And hey, Who Dat Nation, 500 subs by the draft. Let's see if we can get there. We'll see you soon.